Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast.
Hello, Bamise. Mr. Bamise, I should say.
Hello, mans. How goes it?
Goes well. It goes well. It's been a busy morning. Been trying to do my fall gardening, whatever that means.
Are you trying to do full gardening today?
Yes, I did. I tried to do... No, fall gardening, not full gardening.
Fall gardening. You're trying to do full gardening.
I was.
What's full gardening? Are you breaking leaves?
It involves weeding. Then it involves giving my grass nutrients. Then it involves laying grass seeds. It's fall seeding, you see.
Fall seeding to prepare for spring.
Well, I think you often, yes, pretty much. But it's sort of, you do it sort of at this time of year before it gets really cold. Gives things a chance to germinate and all this stuff. And then by spring, it just springs. Lovely grass and things.
Springs, doesn't it? Oh, that's lovely.
Yes, it is lovely.
I haven't done anything like that.
You've not been here.
I just got back to home base. I'm here for 12 days. Oh, yeah, exactly 12 days left.
Can we just say that 12 days is not ages? When Aki and I spoke last week, I said, "Oh, how long are you home for?" And he goes, "Oh, ages." And then I'm going to Europe, and then I'll be back till the rest of the year. So realistically,
this is true.
Not
Listen,
ages.
Ages is relative. The last time I was home for 8 days. So 12 feels like a real. Another 4 days. It's like a half again as many days.
All right, and then when are you home from that? When's your last tour end? And then when are you back for the holidays, really?
The 16th of November.
Oh, so then you have 6 weeks.
Then I'm back for ages.
Okay, that's where the ages.
I think that's what I was trying to say. But I was not fully awake. We were communicating across time zones, and I think I was trying to say after Europe, I'm home for ages.
Yeah, I messed that up because I thought you were talking about. I missed Europe, and then I remember I was like, "Oh, he did say Europe." Anyway, we're off Tropic target.
We're off tropics, and we're getting back to basics. Oh yeah, well, this is a show. Hello, everybody out there. This is a show about Star Trek, isn't it? Not gardening and scheduling. This is Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast, which explains the intro. And today we're talking about Lower Decks Season 3, Episode 8, entitled Crisis Point 2, Paradoxis.
Stardate 3381016.4.
And before we get into this sweet, sweet episode, which I assume you found much more pleasant than last week's episode, Stevie.
You are correct. I certainly did. No surprise there.
I just felt you were so upset last week about the episode. I was relieved. I was like, Stevie's going to like this one. Okay.
Yeah, I did. It delivered in many ways.
But before we do that, we got to talk about Patreon.
Are you missing two nerdy friends in your life?
Beautiful.
Are you missing Zoom watch parties with Star Trek? Are you missing cooking shows with the delightful young man in a bow tie? Well, look no further. Set Phasers has everything you need. Just go to patreon.com/setphasers to join these two delightful nerds in wonderful Star Trek love. Maybe not love. Wonderful Star Trek fun. Just go to patreon.com/setphasers.
That was very good. It's getting better and better. It's getting more and more like a full copy read. Like I'm listening to NPR, and it's one of those breaks where they only do commercials for other niche things. NPR is brought to you by a generous contribution from Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast.
Wouldn't that be great?
Oh man, imagine if we could make generous contributions.
Oh, one day I'll make friends with someone at NPR.
Oh, that's my dream. Okay, let's run it down.
It's time to run it down. Can you run it down for me? Tell me what just happened. Can you run it down for me?
Okay, yeah, episode begins. Listen, we know it's Crisis Point. We know it's a movie like Crisis Point, Vindicta style episode. So we sort of know that this opening, which is the Cerritos in a big fight with a Romulan warbird taking tons of damage and all this stuff, is probably the cold open of this film. But yeah, they are taking damage. They're boarded. These Romulans beam in to this lab. They kill a scientist and they take a strange device, and the device Ransom and them jump on and try to stop the Romulans, but the Romulans beam away, and then they're still fighting the Cerritos, and Cerritos is really getting crap kicked out of it, and Captain Freeman's about to order a reluctant abandon of ship when suddenly a savior warps in, the USS Wayfarer. And indeed, Shax thanks the prophets that the Wayfarer is there, and the Freeman tells him, give those thanks to Captain Bucephalus Dagger, who turns out is Boimler. And the Wayfarer opens fire on the Romulans, really whooping their butts, and then they warp away, and then they don't follow because Boimler was like, we're here to save the Cerritos. And then Freeman says, no, but they got away with a top secret Starfleet prototype, the Chronogami, what allows one to travel through folding space-time, chrono, time, origami. And that's when we find out we're in Crisis Point 2, Paradoxis. Basically, this is another Star Trek movie. The last one was written by Mariner, as I recall, Vindicta. And this one is written by Brad Boimler. So it's a sequel. Before he is able to play the credits sequence, Brad is called away by Ransom to have a quick meeting. So Brad goes away. They watch the credits. We find out the characters' names, which I wrote down because I think it's important how ridiculous these names are. Obviously, Brad Boimler is Bucephalus Dagger. Mariner is Commander Rebecca Doodle. Tendi is Lieutenant Commander Mina Vesper. And Rutherford is Chief Silvo Toussaint. He even attempts to do a Cajun accent and gives up on it. Anyway, Brad comes back. He's seeming a little sad and down in the dumps, but the plot continues. They go to a laboratory. They meet a hot scientist who's into Brad Boimler, into Bucephalus, but Bucephalus is not going to do the romance thing because Boimler's feeling down. They watch a sweet 80s style Star Trek movie explanation of what the Chronogami does. And then they have to follow it. So they follow it to this planet, and it's a big chase, and the Romulans run away on a big ground ship, and then there's a bunch of grav bikes, and so everyone jumps on the grav bikes except Boimler's not interested. They're on this planet that's full of these prophets to all these random gods, and he finds one that he wants to follow because he doesn't care about the plot of the movie. He's searching for the meaning of life, and the computer is then trying to improvise programming in the background to help characters follow the side quest. So Boimler wants to follow looking for the god Katiha, who has answers. And he gets a follower by the name of Knick-Knack, who's following Boimler and calls him the wise purple-headed one, who believes it is wise to look for answers. So Boimler puts Tendi in charge of the mission. Mariner stays with Boimler. Tendi et al. They all go. They follow the Romulans out into the plains. They're doing all the cool grab bike stuff, a lot of motorcycle stuff. And then the Romulans' sisters go into the Chronogami, and so Tendi et al. Follow. And they go to 2341, the era of the algae crisis, which I don't really remember, which could possibly be canon. And Tendi thinks they're trying to kill Ambassador Kora, who saved Starfleet from the algae crisis. And is that the plot of the movie? Meanwhile, Mariner's following Boimler around and is upset that he's not letting her have fun in the sort of cool part of the movie also is being critical of Boimler's rewriting of the Vindictiverse, as she calls it. And they get into an argument because he's trying to follow this Katiha lead. And so Mariner leaves because she does have an evaluation to do from Ransom. And that's when she finds out that when Boimler went away to talk to Ransom, Ransom told Boimler that his transporter clone, dun, dun, dun. You don't have to play the dun, dun, dun because it's not that exciting. But you could if you wanted to. I don't know. What's up to you? Was killed or died that morning. Who can say? Due to some poisonous gas. And so that's why Boimler was
Did you say transporter?
I did. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Oh, yes. His transporter clone, William, was killed that morning. My apologies.
I never get to use that one.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure we use that more often. I'm not going to say it. Meanwhile, Tendi, Rutherford, and the crew of the Cerritos who are following Tendi in the holodeck go to the 20th century now, which is always a fun trope in Star Trek. They are immediately accosted by rough cyberpunk British types with terrible British accents, so sort of like ones that I would do. And but they take them down, and then Tendi thinks the Romulans are trying to wipe out Ambassador Koro's whole family because there's an ancestor of Koro at this museum that they're standing in front of. But Tendi is getting upset because Rutherford's not taking things super seriously. He brought food from the mess into the previous seed, and now he's taking the clothes off the cyberpunks so that he can wear their cool, weird street toughs clothes. Mariner, feeling bad for having aboinded Boimler. Oh boy, what a spoonerism that was. Mariner, feeling bad for having abandoned Boimler. Aboinded. Returns to Boimler's program, is captured by mysterious people on a ship who are acolytes that don't have names. She gets thrown into the brig. There she finds Boimler still feeling down in the dumps because his search for Katiha went poorly and his followers mutinied against him. And Mariner says, but hey, don't feel so bad, Boimler. I know that your transporter clone died. That was an opportunity for you to play the transporter sound again if you wanted to. I know that your transporter clone died, but we're still in this. There's still a reason to follow this our fun times through to the end because we're Starfleet. And she mentions that she found deeper meaning than she intended in her Vindicta program, and that maybe Boimler can find deeper meaning in this weird sequel. Anyway, the first follower Boimler had, Knick-Knack, breaks him out of the brig with an explosion. Boimler, I forgot to mention, the guy that they're following to Katiha has tattoos on his back that are supposed to be a map to Katiha, but they didn't work. But then Boimler busts onto the bridge and he fights that tattooed guy, and Mariner joins in. So does Knick-Knack, who turns out to be super buff or whatever. And then when they defeat the tattooed guy, Boimler discovers that the folds of the skin of his back can be put together to find a true map to Katiha. Anyway, sure, if you want. Oh boy,
I got you.
Yeah, the crew in 2161, that's the Tendi crew, are now trying to defuse a Romulan bomb, and Dr. T'Ana gets killed by one of the Romulans, who then gets killed, and Tendi's still upset that Rutherford's not taking things seriously, and that's when she realizes that the reason she's upset is because he's not taking her being a captain seriously, and he's like, you want to be a captain? She's like, I do want to be a captain. He's like, oh, well, you'd be a great captain. I'd love to be your captain. And they all go, yeah, Captain Tendi. And then she goes, well, how are we going to end this plot? How are we going to save the day? And she goes, oh, I have a plan. Let's use the chronogami. So they go back through the chronogami. We go back to the top of the battle. The whole thing happens. The Romulans come. They board the Cerritos. They don't kill the scientist this time because the scientist just gives over the MacGuffin. I love the term MacGuffin. And they go back to their ship. They're gloating about how they've won. And then Tendi's like, oh, yeah, sure. If you had the chronogami instead of one of your own bombs from the past future, which blows up the ship and saves the day. Meanwhile, Mariner and Boimler go to the Katiha coordinates. And Boimler asks, what is the purpose of life? And Katiha gives him an empty aphorism, namely, the purpose of life is a life of purpose. Other crappy statements. Boimler gets upset, punches his way into Katiha, tries to find out what's going on with Katiha, finds out that Katiha is just a misappropriation of, from dust and stuff, of Kitty Hawk. Apparently this is a spaceship from the Wright, a plane that has become a spaceship from the Wright brothers' original experiments with flight. Has a tantrum, basically passes out, shows up on Kirk's farm. This is really rapid in like almost everything you get in every movie. But it's not, Kirk is not there. Sulu is there. He gets advice from Sulu about just living your life as the best you can. He wakes up in sickbay. Tendi and Boimler had fun. So did Mariner. Tendi and Rutherford had fun. So did Mariner. Bourne was happy that they had a good time. He was technically dead for a while, but now he's back. And they're happy that there was a happy ending to this movie and that they're overjoyed because they hate cliffhangers. And then we discover on a ship somewhere deep in the darkness of space, a coffin is opened and William, the transporter clone, is awakened by Section 31. And here endeth episode 8 of season 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Let's chat about that.
I say, darling, let's do a quick chat about that.
Yes, let's do.
Whew,
Well, what an ep, eh?
what an episode. So we're just getting all of this character development, having fun. We got our fun movie sequel
Yes.
that no one needed.
Right. Tendi as captain.
Yes.
Pulling off
Wants to be captain.
a cool Kirk-style switcheroo, beat the bad guy end of the day thing. I thought that was very cool.
Yes, that's true. Not that. That was a nice little Easter egg.
What else did I write here? There's it's a send up of pretty much, which is interesting because Vindicta kind of sent up the Next Generation movies, the first, right? That was like more of a TNG style movie. This pretty much tried to get everything from the original Star Trek motion picture movies in there, including time travel. It's like the weird graphics when they were showing how the chronogamy works is like straight out of Wrath of Khan. I don't know if you remember that when they were talking about the Genesis
Very
project.
good. Yes.
That was stolen. There's like a search for a god and deeper meaning and all this stuff. Anyway, I really enjoyed that aspect that they tried to get sort of the TNG movie vibe going. And I thought one of the cool things is that like the reason this works in this universe to me is that if it were the senior staff, they wouldn't want to do a Star Trek movie. Like they'd want to go to, do Mason Dixon or whatever the detective's name was that Picard was.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff, right? Was it
It's probably downtown
Mason?
Chicago. It was Dixon Hill.
Dixon Hill, yes. Which is a great episode. But because these guys are lower deckers, their fantasies are to be senior staff. So we get to enjoy a Star Trek style movie adventure because they, like us, wish that they were helming the ship and getting into the deep of adventure. So I thought that was cool. And also Section 31 here in the lower deckiverse.
I know. William Boimler gets to have all the fun. I wonder if we'll see any of Section 31 or if it's just maybe this will come back in season 4.
Well, we still have the dangling bit about Rutherford and who put his thing in and tried to erase his memories, and maybe Section 31 is involved. So now we got William on the inside. Yeah, it would be cool to see some Section 31 business in Lower Decks because they have not lampooned Section 31 yet. And they already started because Boimler asks, aren't we supposed to be a secret organization? Why would we have black comm badges that pretty much announce that we're Section 31?
And I wonder if they're laying this up for an actual Section 31 crossover next season because we assume that Section 31 will have its own spin-off starring our favorite Michelle Yeoh.
We are assuming, and we're not only assuming, we are ardently hoping.
Yes, this is tinfoil time, people.
Yes, come on. Put it out there. Yeah, I mean, overall, this was a great episode. I love the movie episodes. We only have 2 episodes of the season left now. So now we got it back to things.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm upset. But, then we have a little break, and then I think Picard's next. So we've got Prodigy comes out, which we don't recap.
We haven't recapped it, but apparently this is now because they did a pause, a caesura in the middle of season 1. So this is the end of season 1. Yes, that they're putting out.
I think so. Or is it? I'm not sure. We should really keep up with it.
I think this is the second
I tried
part
to watch
of
it. I didn't get into it. But I don't know.
It is. It is for younger people. But as I was saying in the off mic in a text conversation with Stevie, it doesn't take much for me to get into a kids TV program. I'm happy to do that. I've watched all of Avatar and Avatar: The Legend of Korra, so I'm sure I can watch this Star Trek show for kids. In fact, I should.
Did I even say that last time? I felt like the last episode was basically Avatar.
Oh yeah, the last episode, was sort of a send up of Avatar.
Yeah.
Trees, people,
which is interesting because it's obviously not within the Star Trek verse.
Right, but it's a trope of it's like a bad trope that other sci-fi does. That Star Trek generally, at least since the Next Generation, avoids the we're here to save you, noble savages kind of thing.
Yes, true. True.
True. Shall we go to quotable moments?
True. Yes.
I got a few here. What you got? Any faves?
I have 2. It's just Mariner who always gets the last one. Oh no, wait. So my first one, I'll just go with that. Boimler, don't worry, Crisis Point 2 is twice as good as the original Mariner. Crisis Point? No, you can't just piggyback off my movie. Boimler, technically it was my program first, so I can do what I want. Computer, Arch, and Mariner, that doesn't contractually obligate you to make a bad sequel.
Wow.
Which I enjoyed.
There was that bit, I didn't write it down as a quotable moment, but where they're doing time travel, and I think Mariner says oh, what are we going to create an alternate timeline where weird people play younger versions of ourselves? Did I just steal your thing?
You did, yes. You did, yes.
Sorry. Oh,
that's
no.
all right. I'll just read out the full thing. Boimler says Freeman just explained that chronogami can be used to destroy any point in history in Mariner. What? Does it make it an alternative cinematic timeline that runs concurrent to our own, but with different people playing our younger selves? Or younger versions of us? And Tendi laughs and says, scientifically, that would be a bit of a reach.
Loved that.
Yep.
Yes, I'm sorry I stepped on that.
That's all right.
Let's see. I have a few. I very much enjoyed the bad guy who has the tattoos on his skin takes off his thing and he says, "Quickly, read my saggy skin." It was a very strange moment. I liked Mariner says, "Dude, come on, we got to grav." Maybe that's the t-shirt for this episode. I don't know. That seemed pretty good. We got to grav. I really loved Boimler and Sulu. Boimler says, "Is this heaven? The afterlife? The Nexus?" And Sulu says, "It's Idaho. Would you like to feed the horsey?" Yes, that was all quite good. And
was that? I didn't check. Was that actually George Takei?
Yes, that was actually George Takei doing the voice.
Love that.
I think I saw that on Instagram. They're like, "Look out, George Takei." That was great.
It's a real shame they didn't get Nichelle Nichols.
It's too bad. It truly is too bad. But,
Is he the first? I think he is. He's the first and only of the original TOS crew who's done Lower Decks.
Yes, I think that's true.
That'll really piss off Shatner.
They kind of mentioned that too. I mean, it's Kirk's farm that Sulu's on, and Kirk's and Sulu's he left a long time ago. The guy never stops working. Also the Nexus is a reference to the first TNG movie, the Generations.
Oh yes,
right?
of course. Sorry,
where they're on Kirk's farm and everything. Anyway, shall we go? Do you have?
No, not really. I think.
Okay.
No, let's skip it. There was just like the whole thing was a big obvious Easter egg, so I'm not gonna go through.
Fantastic. Well, then we should.
There weren't any like small things that were really cute or hidden in there. So let's just skip.
To.
Good point. Next time.
Okay, great. I didn't know if you had news. I don't know why I felt.
I don't have news. We've had so much news. There's no news left.
There's so much news left. Let's go to next time.
Next time on Set Phasers.
Next time on Set Phasers, we'll be talking about episode 9 of season 3. I looked right before, an hour before we went live, and I did not see a title for this next episode. But usually when that happens, Stevie looks for 4 seconds and finds the name, and it proves that I'm just bad at Googling.
You want me to do that for you? I can
if
do that
you
for
see it, yeah. I feel like I'm never good at it.
I got it. I even have episode 10.
Oh my God.
Episode 9 is called Trusted Sources, and our finale episode is called The Stars at Night.
Ooh, how evocative. Anyway, I guess we'll be checking out Trusted Sources next week.
Yes.
But if you liked what you heard, please do find us, Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast, wherever you find your podcast. We have tons of episodes detailing all the new, the recent and contemporary Star Trek franchises, and they're all as thoughtful and in-depth as this was.
Mm-hmm. I do think you're going to like this t-shirt from week 8. It's like a movie t-shirt of Crisis Point 2 Paradoxis.
Oh,
it's quite clever.
God. I'm sorry, you know what I'm really sad about is that I missed the window to just have them send me all 10.
Possibly.
I don't think you can do that now. I think you have to buy them week to week now.
Maybe. Oh, sorry, bud.
Breaking my heart. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, you did miss it. Oh well. Cool. Yes. Do join us on Set Phasers. Do join us on patreon.com/Set Phasers.
Do join us on
what is our website?
We also have the internet, and so we're on socials too.
We do.
Set Phasers Podcast, Instagram, Facebook. We're in the places. Yes,
we are. Do you know this? You can leave us a voice note if you want.
What?
And that is at our website, setphaserspodcast.com. We've had that for a while. I just forget to tell people.
I didn't know that you could leave us voice notes, everybody.
Yeah, you can leave us a voice note.
Crazy.
We might even play it out on the show. Hey, maybe you got some questions. AMA, baby. There you go.
Oh man.
Yeah, exactly.
We're about to have a long
happen?
period of no new episodes out. Maybe we do get some questions or something.
Yes. Oh, we'll think of something.
We'll think of something.
But see, now you're back. Now we can do some fun things.
Well, I was just thinking we should talk about it off air. But yes, I'm
right.
back for a little bit and then back for ages.
There you go. You twerp. Fun. Well, I am Stevie Mans.
And I am a character that doesn't even have a name. And this has been Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast.
Computer and program.